Today I bring you a story that could shape not only the immediate present but also the long-term future of Real Madrid. A story that has the potential to keep every football fan glued to the screen, because this is not just a passing rumor, not one of those speculative headlines that vanish in a week. What we are talking about here is a strategic move, a calculated step that could define the next decade at the most successful and prestigious football club on the planet. Real Madrid is once again positioning itself where it has always thrived, at the intersection of ambition, talent, and vision. The club's sporting directors and scouts, always alert to emerging stars, have reportedly set their sights on a young midfielder who has already begun to attract attention all over Europe. Kobbie Mainoo, the English prodigy who belongs to Manchester United and who, at just 19 years of age, is already considered one of the brightest jewels in British football. This is not simply another promising youngster who needs years of careful development before being ready to shine on the big stage. Kobbie Mainoo is different. He has already made his mark in the Premier League, arguably the most physically demanding and tactically sophisticated domestic competition in the world. Week after week, in one of the most unforgiving football environments, he has shown he can compete, adapt, and even stand out. That is why he is not being spoken of as a future prospect, but as a genuine talent for the present. What makes Mainoo so special? First and foremost, his composure with the ball. At an age when most players are still erratic, trying to balance risk with responsibility, he already possesses the calmness of a veteran. He is able to dictate tempo, to manage the rhythm of matches, to decide whether the team needs to slow down or accelerate. His decision-making is mature beyond his years, and his ability to remain unfazed in high-pressure moments is precisely what separates the good from the great. His technical qualities, too, cannot be ignored. His first touch is clean and purposeful. His passing range is vast, short, quick combinations in tight spaces, long diagonals to stretch defenses, incisive vertical balls that break lines. He combines the discipline and tactical awareness demanded by English football with a flair that would not look out of place in Spain's La Liga. Observers in England have even gone so far as to describe him as a hybrid between Michael Carrick and Kevin De Bruyne, blending serenity with creativity. Now imagine him in the iconic white shirt of Real Madrid, orchestrating play in the heart of the Santiago Bernabéu. For the fans, it is an exciting vision. For the club, it is a carefully calculated step in their long-term project. Because the reality is this: Luka Modric and Toni Kroos, two of the greatest midfielders of their generation, are approaching the twilight of their careers. They remain world-class, but time waits for no one. Real Madrid has been working on a generational handover for several years, investing wisely in young midfielders such as Eduardo Camavinga, Aurelien Tchouaméni, Fede Valverde, and Jude Bellingham. This new golden quartet already looks capable of dominating Europe for years to come. But adding Kobbie Mainoo into that mix would not just strengthen it, it would elevate it into something extraordinary. And make no mistake, Real Madrid is not the only club aware of Mainoo's potential. Across Europe, elite institutions are circling. Manchester City sees him as a natural successor to Ilkay Gundogan and perhaps even Kevin De Bruyne in the long run. Bayern Munich, a club with a rich history of developing young midfielders, reportedly admire his versatility. Newcastle United, with their ambitious Saudi-backed project, would love to make him the face of their new era. Even Napoli, a club renowned for clever talent acquisition, has expressed interest. Yet despite this competition, there is a fundamental difference when the name Real Madrid enters the equation. Other clubs can offer lucrative contracts, playing time, or competitive projects. But Real Madrid offers something that cannot be quantified: immortality. To wear the white shirt is to step into a legacy that stretches back more than a century. It is to walk the same pitch where Alfredo Di Stefano, Zinedine Zidane, Raúl, Cristiano Ronaldo, and countless others became eternal. It is to know that every game at the Santiago Bernabéu is a chance to carve your name into football history. That weight, far from intimidating players of Mainoo's character, tends to inspire them. The Spanish press has already begun to speculate about what this move could mean. Marca described Mainoo as a midfielder of balance and destiny, someone who could become the next great conductor of Madrid's symphony. Meanwhile, AS pointed out the strategic genius of targeting him now, before his market value soars into astronomical figures. On the other side of the channel, the British media has reacted with a mixture of pride and fear. Pride that England has produced yet another generational talent, and fear that one of their brightest jewels could be lost to Spain, just as Jude Bellingham already was. Negotiations, should they begin in earnest, will not be simple. Manchester United, a club with its own storied history, is unlikely to let go of a player they see as central to their future. The Premier League's financial muscle means they do not need to sell. But Real Madrid has experience in these battles. They know how to wait, how to negotiate, and how to make their project irresistible. In the end, for players with ambition, the pull of Madrid is often too strong to resist. If May does eventually make the move, the implications are enormous. Picture a midfield of Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Bellingham, Valverde, and May. Each player offers a different skill set: Camavinga's energy, Tchouaméni's defensive solidity, Valverde's dynamism, Bellingham's attacking drive, and May's orchestration. It would be a midfield not only balanced but also terrifyingly complete, capable of adapting to any opponent, any situation, any challenge. For Real Madrid fans, the dream of such a lineup is enough to ignite imaginations. For rival clubs, it is a nightmare scenario, a midfield built not just for today, but for 10 years of dominance. Ultimately, this story is not about one transfer. It is about what Real Madrid represents. While others react, Madrid anticipates. While others wait to see how talents develop, Madrid moves early to secure them. This is how they remain not just competitive, but dominant, decade after decade. And if Kobe May is indeed the next jewel to join their crown, then the message will be loud and clear. The present belongs to Real Madrid, and so does the future. Manchester United have made their stance crystal clear. If anyone wants to prize Kobe May away from Old Trafford, they will have to pay an extraordinary fee of €90 million. This number is not just high, it is nearly double his current estimated market value of €50 million. The message from the club is unmistakable. May is considered a diamond of the future, and United are not willing to part ways with him unless they receive an astronomical return. In their eyes, any club interested in him must not only be willing to pay for his current ability but also for the immense potential that lies ahead. Yet, as in so many transfer sagas, the story is not just about numbers. The reality at United has shifted significantly in recent months. The arrival of Portuguese coach Ruben Amorim has reshaped the tactical setup and squad hierarchy. Under Erik ten Hag, May was steadily developing into a central figure, a midfielder trusted to dictate tempo and transition play with remarkable maturity for a teenager. But Amorim's philosophy emphasizes different attributes, leaning on other profiles to execute his vision. Consequently, May's minutes on the pitch have diminished drastically. For a 19-year-old at such a critical stage of development, this reduction is more than a simple frustration. It represents a roadblock in his career trajectory. Sources close to the player suggest that the situation has already had an emotional impact. May is understood to feel increasingly uncomfortable with his lack of involvement and has privately communicated to those around him that he is considering a change of scenery. Few young stars openly push for moves at such an early stage, but May's case is a reflection of his ambition and his unwillingness to stagnate during the formative years of his career. And then comes the alluring prospect, Real Madrid. For many players, Los Blancos represent not just another club, but the pinnacle of world football, a stage where legends are forged and dreams are magnified. To a young midfielder like May, the opportunity is about more than financial reward. It is about joining a project filled with superstars, training alongside icons, and becoming part of the next generation that will carry Madrid's dominance into the future. Imagine a teenager who grew up watching Luka Modric orchestrate games, now sharing training sessions with him, learning firsthand from a master of midfield control. Imagine absorbing the mentality of Toni Kroos, a player who epitomizes calm excellence under pressure. For May, this would be an academy of greatness, one not available anywhere else. Florentino Pérez, the master strategist behind Real Madrid's transfer operations, knows exactly how to navigate these situations. His track record speaks volumes. He does not panic in the face of inflated price tags nor yield to media pressure designed to accelerate deals. He bides his time, letting circumstances unfold until the moment is right. He did it with Luka Modric back in 2012, negotiating patiently with Tottenham despite the Spurs chairman's initial resistance. He repeated the method with Toni Kroos in 2014, exploiting Bayern Munich's willingness to offload the German after a contract dispute. More recently, Eduardo Camavinga and Erling Tchouaméni were integrated into Madrid's midfield at precisely the right moment, reinforcing the idea that the club's recruitment policy is less about short-term flashes and more about long-term construction. Madrid's strategy is almost chess-like. The board may look static for months, even years, But each move is calculated in advance, with the goal of checkmate firmly in mind. If Kobbie Mainoo is truly a target, it is highly unlikely that Madrid will rush in with a desperate offer to meet United's €90 million demand. Instead, they will wait. They will let Amorim's decisions and May's unhappiness play out. They will watch the press build pressure in England. And, at the right moment, they will strike, often at a far more favorable price. But to evaluate the transfer only through a sporting lens would be incomplete. Modern football is as much a business as it is a game, and Real Madrid are masters at maximizing the commercial dimension of their signings. Bringing in a young English talent who has been developed at Manchester United's academy would generate instant global buzz. England remains the most lucrative and visible football market on the planet. The Premier League is broadcast everywhere, and English players carry unique cultural weight. Seeing one of their brightest prospects don the white shirt of Madrid would send shockwaves across both markets. From a brand perspective, this is monumental. Real Madrid already occupy the summit of global sports branding, but a move like this would consolidate their dominance even further. A young English midfielder in Madrid would not only strengthen their presence in Europe but also boost visibility across Asia, the United States, and the Middle East, regions where English football is consumed almost as passionately as in the UK itself. Shirt sales, media coverage, social media engagement, sponsorship opportunities, all would surge with such a transfer. It would be a deal that extends far beyond the pitch. And yet, there is also a powerful emotional element. Transfers like this feed into football's eternal narrative of ambition, identity, and reinvention. For May, joining Real Madrid would symbolize not just a step forward in his career, but a leap into footballing immortality. United might represent tradition and passion, but Madrid represent glory at the highest level. This is the club of Alfredo Di Stefano, Raúl, Cristiano Ronaldo, names that echo far beyond football itself. To walk into that lineage at 19 is to accept the challenge of greatness. If we analyze the tactical side, the move becomes even more intriguing. Carlo Ancelotti, or whoever succeeds him in the coming years, would see in May a versatile midfielder capable of blending technical finesse with energy and verticality. He could be deployed as an interior in a 4-3-3, offering dynamism next to a defensive anchor like Tchouaméni. He could also function as a deeper playmaker, learning from Modric's mastery of rhythm. In the long term, Madrid envision a midfield without Modric or Kroos, and May could be one of the keystones of that future. He is not merely a squad addition. He could be the player around whom a new cycle is built. Of course, Manchester United will not let this happen easily. Their €90 million demand is both a statement of intent and a defensive wall designed to discourage suitors. For the club, losing May would be a symbolic blow, another homegrown jewel slipping through their fingers, much like Paul Pogba in the past. It would raise questions about their ability to nurture and retain top talent, especially at a time when their rebuilding project is still fragile. For fans, it would sting deeply. But history has shown that when Real Madrid truly decide they want a player, they almost always get him. It may take time, patience, and negotiation, but eventually the lure of the Bernabeu, the promise of trophies, and the prestige of wearing white prove irresistible. For Kobbie Mainoo, the question is no longer whether he is talented enough to play at that level. His performances have already answered that. The real question is whether Manchester United can withstand the pressure, both financial and emotional, that inevitably comes when Madrid come knocking. In the grand chessboard of European football, this saga could well define the next chapter. On one side, Manchester United clinging to their jewel, demanding a king's ransom. On the other, Real Madrid waiting, watching, calculating, knowing that time, as always, is on their side. If the stars align, if circumstances tilt just slightly further in Madrid's favor, the outcome seems almost inevitable. Kobbie Mainoo, draped in white, not only as a reinforcement for the present but as one of the pillars of Real Madrid's future dynasty. The clearer and more unwavering Kobbie Mainoo's intention becomes to leave Manchester, the greater the pressure will be inside the offices of Old Trafford. The corridors of the United boardroom will begin to feel heavier with each rumor, each article, each subtle gesture from the young midfielder suggesting that his future lies elsewhere. English football has already seen this play unfold countless times. Young talents, restless for opportunity, refusing to remain patient as their careers stagnate, pushing for exits that once seemed unthinkable. It is almost a ritual of the Premier League, a cycle in which clubs believe they can resist, only to watch destiny unfold when a bigger, more irresistible force arrives. And when that force wears the white of Real Madrid, History shows us the outcome is almost always the same. Madrid emerges victorious, because the call from the Santiago Bernabéu is not simply an offer, it is a destiny. Now, picture the moment with all its grandeur. A Santiago Bernabéu stadium, newly renovated, glowing under the Madrid night sky, packed with 80,000 fans whose anticipation vibrates in the air. The crowd roars as Kobbie Mainoo jogs onto the pitch for his debut, draped in the white shirt that has defined footballing greatness for generations. This is not just a stadium, it is a cathedral of football, a place where legends are forged. And May, stepping onto that grass for the first time, would instantly feel the weight of history pressing down on his shoulders, a weight that, for the chosen few, does not crush but transforms them into giants. Imagine him not alone, but surrounded by the dazzling young core that Real Madrid has carefully assembled. Jude Bellingham, already a global icon at just 20, Vinicius Jr., a symbol of joy and audacity, Federico Valverde, the engine of intensity, Rodrigo Goes, the master of decisive goals on the biggest stages. Together, they would not merely represent the present, nor only the future, they would be the fusion of both. They would form a midfield and attack capable of terrifying Europe, a group destined to dominate not for seasons, but for eras. And then, imagine the trophies. Kobbie Mainoo, hoisting silverware into the night sky, embraced by teammates who know what it means to win the Champions League, to conquer La Liga, to stand on the summit of the sport. Picture him inheriting the role that Luka Modric and Toni Kroos held for over a decade, the role of conductor, of orchestrator, of the calm hand guiding Real Madrid through storms and finals alike. Modric and Kroos were not simply players, they were eras unto themselves. Their departure will leave a void that few can dare to fill. But May's arrival would not be seen as a gamble. It would be a continuation of Madrid's eternal strategy, never waiting for the future to arrive, but building it, brick by brick, decision by decision, season by season. Such a move would send shockwaves across the continent. It would be a statement, loud and unmissable: Real Madrid does not rest. Real Madrid does not accept limits. Real Madrid does not look around to see what others are doing, it sets the standard to which others must aspire. While rival clubs struggle financially, forced to sell their brightest talents to survive in a market where money rules mercilessly, Madrid would be showing, once again, that it has mastered the balance between financial strength, sporting ambition, and vision. They do not just buy players, they secure dynasties. For Kobbie Mainoo himself, the transformation would be monumental. This would not be a simple change of scenery, nor just a transfer from one club to another. It would be a leap into another universe. At Manchester United, he is seen as a promise, a potential gem, someone whose best years lie ahead but who still must prove himself. In Madrid, the narrative would shift instantly. Promise would become reality, potential would become stardom, and obscurity would turn into spotlight. In Manchester, he is one among many. In Madrid, he would be part of something larger than football, larger than himself, part of a story written in gold letters across the annals of the sport. Madridistas, the question must be asked with absolute clarity. Do you see Kobbie Mainoo as the ideal heir to our midfield? Can you picture him carrying the torch passed down from Modric and Kroos, guiding Real Madrid into its next golden age? Because when we look at his qualities, his technical ability, his composure on the ball, his hunger for growth, his willingness to embrace change, they align perfectly with what it means to wear this badge. The white shirt is not for everyone. It demands resilience, brilliance, and the courage to perform when millions are watching and the weight of expectation is suffocating. And yet, those who accept that challenge find themselves immortalized. The upcoming transfer window already promises to be one of the most turbulent in years. Stories will dominate the headlines, whispers will spread across Europe, and every press conference will feel like a battleground of questions and evasions. Amidst all of this noise, one name will continue to resonate above the rest: Kobbie Mainoo. If this move materializes, it will not be remembered as a mere signing, another reinforcement to bolster the squad. No, it will be remembered as a landmark, as a foundational stone in the construction of the new Real Madrid, the Madrid that will not only honor its glorious past but expand it, carrying its legacy forward into a future that already feels inevitable. And so, the future is not distant. It is already pressing against the present, demanding to be acknowledged. You can almost feel it in the air, in the energy of the Bernabéu, in the determination of the board, in the excitement of the fans who dream of seeing their club remain at the summit of world football. That future may well have a name and a surname already written into its script: Kobbie Mainoo.